accident. The initial story is that he was in his backyard messing around with his burn barrel when something suddenly exploded. And they don't know what exactly it is that exploded in that burn barrel, but something did and caused a piece of shrapnel to hit his neck and end his life. Mark Leite was just 48 years young. Take a listen to local news coverage of the event.
It's being called a freak accident. A healthy, active 48-year-old killed when something inside the burn barrel he was using ignited, causing an explosion, sending shrapnel flying through the air.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Chris Leite is still trying to process the death of his younger brother, Mark.
He was burning papers or whatever. This was the story that I got, and something exploded. Something was in there. Something exploded, and a piece had come up, and, that was it. I'm still in shock. At some point, I will try to put my arms around it, but at this point now, I can't.
The Leite family still doesn't know what ignited inside the barrel that caused that explosion.
How curious. Okay. His neck hit with a piece of shrapnel from an explosive. You can obviously tell that his brother has questions about that narrative. And he wasn't the only one, by the way. Mark Leite's best friends had questions as well. One of his friends in particular, who he had known since high school, did not fully accept the burn barrel narrative. The first reason was due to what Mark Leite did for a living. Mark Leite, not mentioned here in that news clip, was a supervisor for a company called Surefire Wireline LLC. That is in Kittanning, Pennsylvania, okay? Surefire Wireline works with oil and gas companies, and they specialize in what's known as pump-down perforating for oil and gas wells. Don't worry, I'll explain it to you. You don't need to know much. Essentially, what it means is that they punch holes so that oil and gas can flow through horizontally, okay? Now, why am I telling you that? Why do we need to know about that? Because that technique requires the use of a very specific explosive known as PETN. Think back to when you used to watch like Bugs Bunny, the Road Runner, and they always had the TNT explosive. Well, things have been updated since, and now the favorite explosive that is used is PETN, okay? So Mark Leite's high school friend, one of his best friends, did not believe that he had died because he just burned some random stuff in a barrel, because he knew that Mark had access to very dangerous explosives, and also that Mark knew how to deal with them, right? He was particularly careful with those explosives. He knew how to handle them, rather. And then there's this. Allegedly, Mark A. Leite had confessed to his longtime high school friend just a week before he died that he had illegally taken some explosives from his job. The ATF was apparently investigating him for this. At least that's what was told to what Courtney Fief, who was a former ATF agent, confided to somebody that he had this confession a week before he died. By the way, just as a general question, why would any person want to steal explosives from work, right? To be clear, just a tiny bit, a couple of grams of PETN causes a massive explosion. I'm going to demonstrate for you guys in a little bit. So it begs the question, what could a person do with larger amounts of it? Is there like a black market for those types of explosive? Otherwise, why risk blowing yourself up, taking it from work, getting into trouble, being investigated by the feds? Was there somebody on the outside that was seeking to buy it in larger quantities on the side? The answer is, I don't know. What I do know is what happened on July 13th, 2024, just 30 minutes away from Kittanning, Pennsylvania. And this happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Trump survived an assassination attempt while on stage at his rally. The sad part is that Mark Leite's longtime high school friend, who didn't exactly buy the narrative of the barrel, he did not survive. Mark Leite's friend's name was Corey Comperatore. Yes, it was Corey Comperatore who Mark Leite had confided his secret to, that he had done something that he wasn't supposed to. But again, I'll ask the question, to what end? Did he tell Corey more about what he was doing with those explosives? Sadly, neither man is alive today. As we know, Corey and his family had quite an odd evening the night of Pennsylvania, the Butler rally in Pennsylvania, because they weren't supposed to be in the front of the audience to see President Trump speak. In fact, Corey had grabbed regular tickets for he and his family. They were amongst the crowd. So they were quite surprised when, while waiting in a large crowd, an unknown woman asked them if they'd like to be escorted to the very front. Who was this woman? Surely, with so many cameras reporting live from the rally, someone must have captured this moment. Who was it that had the authority to make such a move happen? That's a big authority, right? Corey Comperatore then is shot in the head. It's worth noting that Mark A. Leite is also friends with various members of the Crooks family on Facebook. That, of course, could just be a small town coincidence. We can't really extrapolate anything from that. I'm just mentioning it as a fact because it is one. Anyway, let's hit fast forward again. Just 2 months after the Butler shooting, Corey Comperatore loses his life. And then a never-before-seen terror attack is executed with precision, which involves PETN explosives. On September 17th and on September 18th of 2024, there was a massive series of pager explosions across